guys, good morning. Thank you for tuning in back to this channel. I really hope that all of you are keeping safe and that you and your loved ones are well. I am okay as well. As you can see, just hoping and praying for a better tomorrow. So anyway, if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing if you haven't, and if you've come this far and you haven't subscribed, please also consider doing so. So on today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you something again different. It's another story time, and at this point in time where there is so much hurt and pain in the world, and we just need something, a message of hope, something just to show that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So that is, I'm going to be sharing with you the story of the miracle that is my baby. So let me begin with how I met the daddy. So I was living in South Sea in Nairobi, Kenya. At that time, I was working as a front office supervisor in a place called Batian's Peak Service Apartments. My career was going really well at that time. I just finished campus and gotten my first job. It wasn't the real first job, but yeah, the other ones were just like a reliever and stuff. But now this was like my first stable job. Moved from a reliever to a receptionist to a supervisor within 1 year, and everything was looking up. And then I met this guy. One time I went to the drugstore and he was there, and we hooked up. I won't say that it was love at first sight or we fell in love. Just like, okay, we connected in a way, and we started dating. And at that time, as I told you, my career was going fine, so I found my own place, because before I was living with my sister, so I found my own small extension in South Sea, and yeah, I was living there. And 3 months after I met this guy, things just went downhill. For no good reason, I resigned from my job, and I was jobless. And he was say a hustler or a broker. He did not have any stable job. He was doing like a movie production, or he was writing a movie, something like that, which never picked up since the whole time that I was with him. So I was like the one really struggling to make ends meet. So we moved in together anyway, and after I resigned from my job, that year was terrible. We struggled and struggled and struggled. I couldn't get a stable job, and him also, he was just getting like money here and there, maybe selling stuff or helping people find cars and land, and like a broker, real estate, for everything, for anything that somebody needed. If somebody needed a car or a house or a phone, whatever, he was the guy. So things got really, really bad. I couldn't make rent, so we ended up like selling most of the stuff that was in the house to make rent. And I think my dad got to hear that I was struggling, and he told me, anyway, that guy that you are living with is not the guy that you spend the rest of your life with. So I was like, I told this guy that this is what my dad said, and he was like, and you're going to listen to that? You're going to let your parents control your life and tell you how to live, who you can live with or who you cannot live with? And instead of listening to my dad, I listened to him, which was a very bad idea, and things got even worse. I used to struggle like to a point that I would walk all the way from Westlands to South Sea. That is a very long distance, but that was how I was able to go to work on days that he could not like give me fare to go to work. So I was forced, circumstances forced me to move out of that house and go back to my sister's house, because we were not able to pay rent anymore. And he moved somewhere to Rongai to find a cheaper housing option for us. He stayed there for a while, so when he was away, I moved back to my sister's. So when I moved back to my sister, when I stopped staying with this guy, I actually got a job. I got the job, I got rehired back to the place that I had quit before with a better position, because before I was the front office supervisor, so I got a position of a sales and marketing agent, and things started looking up for me again career-wise. I was making some good money, but I continued staying with my sister, but I continued seeing this guy despite the fact that my dad had told me to stop seeing him. So when he came back from Rogai, I told him, hey, by the way, I got this new job and blah. And you know what he told me? That, but you won't last 6 months in that job. And I was like, why would you say that? Are you not happy for me? No, that's not the case. I'm just telling you, you won't last 6 months in that job. And I said, go away, prophet of doom. How would you say something like that? And I just dismissed it. I continued working and getting salary and also commissions because of the sales. I was selling serviced apartments. And then 5 months down the line, or maybe 4 months, 5 months down the line, it was around the election period in 2013, and because it was the hospitality industry, many companies were shying away from Kenya, especially expatriates or NGOs. They were removing their staff from the country because of fear of post-election violence. So our business started to hurt really bad, to a point that we had very few guests. And the management was considering downsizing. And I had this rumor, but of course I told myself, I cannot be among the people that are going to lose their jobs, because the little business that is in, I and my colleague are the ones that are actually bringing it. So I went home one day and I told him, wow, business is really bad. Our company is not doing well. They are talking of downsizing people. And he told me, you see, I told you, you won't last 6 months in that job. And I was like, what? You mean I'm going to be among the people that will be fired? He said, yes. And I said, why would you say that? Now, prophet of doom, stop saying that, I'll not be fired. The following day, I go to work at around 8:30, get a phone call, Angela and Lucy, please come to the office, to the manager's office. And yeah, you were given letters, this is your last day of duty, we are ending your contract, or you need to pack up and leave the company premises immediately. And we were escorted by the managers out of the company. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Like, how did this guy get to know that these things were going to happen? I don't know. He was weird. So I was jobless, and at that point, 1 week before I lost my job, exactly 1 week, I had found out that I was pregnant. What I forgot to tell you is that as things were going well, like I think the 4th month or the 5th month, I decided to move out of my sister's house again. I found a house in South B, and me and this guy moved back in together. When we moved back in together, that's when the company started, going downhill. And yeah, that is when I lost my job the second time. And at that point, I had found out that I was pregnant, because we were again living together as a couple, I would say. So I was jobless there, and he was jobless, and it was just really difficult. And he was not the nicest person at that time, He was very negative. He was telling me all these things, that now you don't have a job, what are you going to do with that child? Just get rid of it. And it was constantly, get rid of that child, get rid of that child. How are you going to support it? And he would tell me, I'm going to leave you. You will never find me again. You just better get rid of that child, better get rid of that child. I was tired of hearing this thing, and I wouldn't say depressed, because I didn't have any suicidal thoughts or whatever. I just stayed strong for the child. And I wouldn't say that it was bad all the time, because sometimes we would walk and go find food and buy food and stuff when he would go and maybe hustle, because at that time now he was the one that was supporting us. Go hustle, come back with shopping, buy food, but he was very negative. And at that time I already maybe started getting big, because I think I continued staying in that house for another until I was about 12 weeks. I was already starting to show a little bit. My tummy was growing bigger. So when we would go to the shop and a man would look at me, he would be like, oh, you're flirting with that guy. And seriously, I was like, I am in several layers of clothes and I look like this, and you think I'm flirting? It was just starting to get into my head. And from time to time he would tell me, I am the devil. The devil is here and I am here. I am a very bad person. I am only nice to you because you're a good person. So I would tell myself anyway, which normal person would confess out loud that he's the devil? Nah, he's just saying it. Yeah, I wish I had listened, but I didn't. In my mind, I was just like, nah, he's just kidding. And also, and then one day he told me, I control your mind. You do exactly what I want you to do. And I was like, nah, he doesn't control my mind. But truly, he would tell me something and I would do just exactly that. He would say, just move out of your sister's place, come find another place. I would do that. Don't listen to your parents. I would do that. Like, I don't know what kind of powers he had. Really, I don't know. But yeah, I think 2 or 3 times he told me this, that he wouldn't say that he is like the devil. He used to say, I am the devil. The devil is here and I am here. He's just like on a lower rank with the devil. So during those times, I just started reading the Bible because I didn't know. I would try and get away from him, but I did not have the strength to do it. In my mind, I knew I was not supposed to be with him. I needed to get away from him, but I did not know how to do it. If I told him I wanted to do it, he would find a way to manipulate my mind, and I would just continue to stay. So I started reading the Bible from Genesis, just going on, and that is how I just found some comfort and some relief. One time I heard that my mom was coming to the city. She was coming for a prayer retreat to Vincentian Prayer House in Lavington, if anyone has heard of it. But it's a very nice place, especially if you are hurting or going through a tough time or having somebody sick, just needing some special kind of deliverance. It's a very good place to go. So when I heard that my mom was coming and she was going to that place, I was like, Mom, can I join you to that place? At that point, I had not told my mom that I'd lost my job. I had not told my mom that I was pregnant. So, but I tried to conceal the pregnancy, and then I joined her. In fact, she said, yeah, come and I will save you a seat. So I went to the prayer session with my mom, and it was usually a whole day prayer session, and we were praying the entire day. And usually at lunchtime they give you tea and bread because you don't carry food there. Just go the whole day dedicated to cry to God, pray. So we were crying and we were praying, and I think during the break time, my mom told me, your dad is really stressed out because of you seeing this guy. He's really stressed out. He's even having ulcers because he somehow he found out that he told you to stop seeing him, and you continue seeing him, and this guy is not good for you, and look how you're struggling and blah. And I just told myself, oh my God, if she knows that things are even to another level, that I am carrying his child and I lost my job. So I just kept praying to God, and I think that there's some point that they tell you that or at least they told us during the afternoon session, look into the eyes of God and just tell God what you want. And I just asked God, please help me to break away from this person, because I told my mom, yes, I know that I'm supposed to break away from this person, but I do not know how. Every time I try, somehow I find myself just going back. But I know that it's a very sour relationship. I need to break away from him, only I don't know how. So as I was praying and I was just crying to God and saying, God, please help me to break. If it is your will, then let me stay. But if it is not your will that I should be with this person, then give me the grace to break away from him. And I told him, anyway, I know it is not your will, because we have never gotten any good breaks since I've been with him. I've lost like a few properties or whatever, a few items that I had, the electronics, the whatever, and I've lost I've soured my relationship with my parents, and I've lost jobs, I've lost almost everything. So I know that this is not the person that I'm supposed to stay with. So after the session was over, my mom told me, this is what you should do. Is he at home? I said, yes. Go to the house and tell him that you are moving out. So he also needs to move out. That you're moving out, you're going to stay with your sister, and so you're not going to be keeping the house anymore. So he should find another place to stay. So I was just praying and praying that, oh God, I hope this one works and he will not try to play with my mind again. So I did that, and as we were walking with my mom in town, that is what I just said, okay, now that I've come clean, and in the vehicle I told her that, by the way, I also lost my job and I have not told you. And my mom was like, you see, these are the things that are stressing your dad. You're keeping secrets to yourself, you're doing all these things, blah blah blah. Now how are you surviving? How have you been eating all this time? And I just said, no, I have a little savings, and that is how I've been surviving. And also this guy has been trying to find some money for us to buy food. So, okay, she left that. But I told myself, since I'm coming clean, then I need to confess everything. So I told my mom, and there is something else that I have not told you. And she said, what is it? I said, I am expecting his child. My mom lost her mind in town. And she was wroth with me. Like, she was like, how could you let yourself get pregnant with this guy? You know this guy is no good for you. Blah, 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 blah. I did not say a word because I was just like feeling very guilty and just the worst person in the world. So I was just walking behind her, just folding my head, just walking. So she spoke and said all the nasty things that African mothers say when they found out that you're pregnant. Not at the correct time. So anyway, I got to the bus station because I was going to South B and she was going back to my sister's place in South C, or at least maybe Imara. Yeah, she was going to another sister's. She was going to my sister's place in Imara, and I was going to South B where I used to stay. So she asked me, do you have fare to go back home? I said, yes, I have money to go back home. And you said, okay, you go. And just make sure you let me know how it goes with this guy. So when I was in the vehicle, I thought to ask my dad for forgiveness, because the thing that hurt me the most is the fact that out of all these things that I was doing, that I hurt my dad so bad until he was sick, that his pressure was going up and he was getting ulceration. And so I thought an SMS will not be enough. So I wrote him an email. So, and I said, Dad, I'm very sorry that you asked me to break away from this guy and I did not listen. And now for this reason, I know I lost my job. I told my dad, I know it's because of me that the company fell apart, because God wanted to punish me and to fish me out of the company. So he had to do this. And I just told my dad, I'm so sorry. I will never do that again. I am breaking away from this guy from today, and this will never happen again. And I did not tell my dad about the pregnancy. I knew anyway. My mom will tell him. And surprisingly enough, my dad responded to the email and said, forgiven. I cried. He just said, forgiven, and I know that you're going to do great. You will get another job, and you will go to places that you've never imagined before. Like, he spoke a blessing over my life. And he forgave me in those simple words. Like, I cried in that vehicle. I cried because I just felt I did not deserve it. I was defiant. I was like, I don't know, the prodigal son, or I don't even know how I'd call myself. But I cried. The fact that my dad forgave me, it just meant everything. And I got the strength, and I got home, and I found this guy sitting outside, just sitting on a chair outside, reading a book. And I was like, oh God, how am I going to start? So I went and sat on his lap, because I told myself I'm not going to spend another night under the same roof with him, especially after I had told my dad that I'm breaking away from him now. So I went and sat on his lap, and I told him, there is something that I need to tell you. And he was like, what? And he was so calm that day. He was, what is it? And I told him, met my mom today, and she's really not happy about this relationship, and you know that your family is also not supporting this relationship, and I really think we should end it. We should break up. And I kept quiet to listen to what he was going to say, and he said, yeah, oh, okay, is that what your dad said? Okay, if that is what your parents say, then I agree with you. You better listen to your parents. I'm telling you, the power of God. The strongholds had been broken, and now all the resistance, everything that he was using to manipulate me, just went away. And I say, yeah, you need to listen to your parents. Do as they're asking you to do. I am going to pack up my stuff and leave. So when are you going to leave? I told him, I'm not even staying here tonight. I'm going to my sister's place. I'm going to give you 3 days to pack up and go. And yeah, we can call it quits. Maybe we will meet someday somewhere. But for this, we need to end it, and to end it now. And he was calm. He did not become any violent. But he was never violent anyway, just with the words. He used to have strong words. So but something sparked again in him to come after the child. Now he was like, now, okay, fine, what about the child? How are we going to raise the child? Because now we are parting, blah blah blah. And I told him, it's okay, I'm not the first single mother, or I'm not the first mother to raise a child alone. I'm going to take care of the child. And was like, no, I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should get rid of the child. I think you should get rid of the child. Now that we are splitting, just get rid of that child so that you can start your life over and blah. And I just thought, I'm not going to win this argument. I just better say, yes, I'm going to get rid of the child. So I said, yeah, I think you are right. I just wanted him to continue feeling like he's winning and he's still controlling my mind. So I said, yeah, I think you're right. I'm going to get rid of the child. As soon as I get to my sister's place, I'm going to talk to one of my friends, and she will help me to get rid of the child. And they say, yeah. And if you do that, we are going to be friends forever. Please just do that. I think it's good for you, because there's no point keeping a child that doesn't have a father. I said, yeah, I know it's true. So I packed up a few clothes, going to my sister, and he said, okay, let me escort you to the bus stop. So all the way as we were walking, he just kept convincing me, okay, go, please make sure I get rid of the child. How are you going to do it? I told him, yes, my cousin will give me some pill, and I'm going to take it, and it will happen. So, and in my heart, I was just telling God, please don't take it against me. You know I'm not going to do it. I just don't want to argue with this guy. I want to live and to part with him in peace. So I went to my sister's place, and when I got there, it was already nightfall, and he called me and he asked me, have you already done it? And I said, yes, I have done it. And I asked him, why are you asking? Because I wanted to ask you to not to do it. And he said, how? I asked him, how comes you've changed your mind? Are you not the one who tried to convince me for a whole hour how I'm supposed to get rid of that child? And they said, okay, fine. If you've already done it, then it's okay. So I hung up the phone. 3 days later, I go back to the house. He has not moved. He has not packed up anything. And I'm like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? Guys, it's already 22 minutes. And of course, we are going to have another part of this story. It's story time. So I need to go to work. So see you on the next part. Subscribe.